A quick note before we begin. If you enjoy this podcast, please head over to theauthorinside.you.com and click the subscribe button. Thanks. And now, on with the show.
You're listening to the Author Inside You podcast, a weekly podcast designed to motivate you to finish writing a book, choose a publisher, and have your work build an audience. Keep listening if you're looking to get propelled into the next chapter of your life. And now, it's the Author Inside You podcast with your host, Leah and Matt Rafferty.
Hello and welcome to the Author Inside You podcast. I'm Matt Rafferty.
And I'm Leah Rafferty.
Today, our guest is Jennifer Stout, author of The Bipolar Poet. Jennifer grew up in Pennsylvania and began writing poetry as a freshman in high school. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Well, Jennifer, The Bipolar Poet, how did you come up with that title?
I was diagnosed as bipolar when I was 16 years old, which is about the same time I started writing poetry. So I thought it was fitting to put the two together.
Okay.
My mental illness doesn't define who I am, but it has a lot to do with my day-to-day struggles and my day-to-day life with my friends and family. So a lot of my writing correlates with that.
Well, it seems like a very interesting book. I see that it's split up into different sections, and then after each section, the readers can write notes about how they're feeling or reacting to things. I think, where did you come up with that concept?
I wanted to give readers an opportunity to write. I love writing. It's a passion that I've had since a teenager. And, I think that I know in the past when I've read things, they spark emotions. And when you put your emotions on paper, it really helps you to open up. And I just wanted my readers to have an opportunity to do that as well.
And so did you have an editor for the book after you wrote it?
I did. Her name was Linda Potter. I was put in contact with her. It's an interesting story. I was in a meeting and I got a note from someone that was in the meeting with me, and it said, "Hey, I heard yesterday you were interested in doing some witnessing, and I know of a lady that does that locally." So I got in contact with her, and I don't even know how it came up. And in the conversation, she told me she was a published author. And I said, well, I wrote a book when I was in high school. She said, well, bring it along to lunch. And I brought it along, and she looked at it, and she put me in contact with her editor and her cover designer, the lady that designed the cover of her book.
So this is a chance meeting.
Yeah, it was. It was just a chance meeting with this woman. I was at a meeting, and another lady that was there handed me a note that said, I heard you were interested in doing some witnessing at local churches, and I know someone that does that and could help you. So I contacted her, and her name's Lynn Potter. She's a published author. And through talking with her, it came up that, she wrote books. And I said, I wrote a book when I was in high school. It was my senior project. It was a poetry book. And she said, well, bring it along. And she really gave me so much encouragement to self-publish.
Wow.
And she put me in contact with her editor and the woman that designed her cover. And as months went by, I put together a final, I printed it out on my computer and I stuck it in plastic, sheet protectors. And,
okay.
I put everything together, put it in its sections. And when I sent it to the editor, she had it created and put in a format for CreateSpace.
Oh, that must have been fun to see.
Excellent.
It was. So, and then when I got in contact with the lady that designed the cover, I actually had a picture of a bridge. And she said that it wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough pixels. So she designed the cover, and I love it.
Oh, it's pretty cool, yes. Yeah.
It is.
Like you're going deeper in yourself or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty neat.
And the light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Right, or crossing the bridge into a different part of your life.
Exactly.
Did the book change much from when you wrote it as your project to the way it is now?
Yeah, very much. I was 18 when I wrote it, and I hadn't been through college, and I added a lot more poetry. It's a variety of poems, not only from when I was in high school, but when I was in my 20s and then, early 30s. And I just kind of picked what I was led to pick. I mean, when you have I have so much poetry that I've written. I wanted to find poems that were touching, and that's how I ended up with all the different categories. I just sat on the bed one day and started dividing them up.
Oh, okay.
It was just it was a great process to go through, and that's how I ended up with all the different sections of the book. And a main theme is love and heartache.
Uh-huh.
But such is life.
Right.
For a teenage girl and for a young woman.
Well, did you find the process hard or difficult?
No, not at all. If you have a good editor, they make it so easy for you. And you just need to be in good communication with them as you're doing your final draft and as you're sending different drafts back and forth, and they're going through it and editing it and reviewing it. But she set everything up. Wow. So that it was formatted to create space. I mean, I did it in a Word document.
Oh, okay.
And I sent it to her over email, and then she did the magic.
Oh, so that's pretty easy communications then, if you could do it through
email.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, and then what about marketing? Did you market your book?
I'm still in the process of doing marketing. I had some health issues a few months back, right after I published the book, and I'm just starting. I have my personal Facebook page that's linked to the book with my friends on Facebook. But I recently put up a Facebook page that's specific to the Bipolar Poet and me as an author. And I'm working on marketing that way. I've taken it to the local library.
Great.
And there's some local bookstores that have it. Just smaller bookstores. I'd love to go into the huge bookstore and have them have them pick it up, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm actually starting a blog.
Oh, good.
I'm working on the page right now, and I'm trying to get it up and running.
Yeah, another author told us that going to the library she went to many different libraries and made sure that they had their copy of her book in their library, and she said that was nice.
She also told us a lot of libraries bought the book from her. What is the Facebook page?
It's Bipolar Poet 24.
Oh, okay. So our listeners can look it up that way. Okay.
Yeah. It's my basketball number in high school. I use it for everything.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's pretty neat since you started writing poetry in high school.
Exactly.
Very cool.
I remember it was Mrs. Geezy's 9th grade English class at Penns Valley out in the country in Pennsylvania, and we started a chapter on poetry. And we were analyzing Alanis Morissette's Ironic song.
Oh, uh-huh.
And that was the first day I wrote a poem, and I've been writing ever since.
Oh, that's a neat story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's once again something that just, something in your life touched you, and there you went. You know what I mean? You just never know in life what's going to make you act or this could be a career, your career, what's going to move you in a different direction.
It turned you into an author because of a teacher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We touched a little bit about marketing. Are you doing any book signings at bookstores?
No, I haven't. That was something that I've got on my to-do list when it comes to marketing. And there's a book, I don't know what they call it. It's like a show for authors. They have it in Charlotte, North Carolina, for new authors to come in, and people walk around, and there's vendors, and you showcase your books, and you can sign copies, sell them. And they have short story contests and things like that.
Oh,
so I'm going to be getting involved with that in the spring.
Yeah,
okay.
That's good for our listeners to know about also. So a conference on new authors. Okay. And where'd you say it was, in South Carolina?
It's in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, Charlotte. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, and then
I try to do a lot of. I'm a part of a lot of poetry groups on Facebook. There's so many writing groups out there that are just great with helping me learn how to market, where to where to start, because I'm new to all of this. Support for marketing, support for being a new author, to find people to review your book.
Oh, okay.
And I've gone the mental health route, with my bipolar condition, and finding groups for just poetry groups for people that have mental illnesses, because ultimately I would love for everyone to read my book, but I think it would really touch a lot of people that suffer from mental illness, whether it's depression, anxiety, manic depression, bipolar disorders, BPD, because there's an understanding with the ups and downs and the mood swings and how your feelings are so amplified and how they change. And I really think that the journaling part of the book would benefit people that suffer. They can express themselves like I have, because it really helps.
Well, even if you don't necessarily suffer from bipolar, I always read that whenever you're stressed out or anything, they say, write it down.
Exactly.
Release, you feel better after. So anyone can read this book because it will help all of us.
Right.
I think that's a really neat idea, how you have people write things down after reading. I really like that.
Sure, the writing is meant to prevent you from doing something foolish or saying something foolish, so you write it down, right? When you're angry with something. So that is a great idea to be able to...
just not feeling happy. Yeah.
Sure.
Or when you don't understand what you're feeling.
Okay.
There's many times I've sat down and I've just felt, a plethora of emotions, and when I write, I gain a better understanding of what I'm going through inside myself.
Might be nice for some big insurance companies to purchase this book and send it out to some of their doctors.
Oh, yeah.
And
I've thought about, that was another marketing possibility that I have in my my short-term goals is to go to psychiatrist offices and to doctor's offices and just have the book in the waiting room.
Yes, that sounds great.
Was the book available on Amazon, or?
It's on Amazon and it's on Kindle.
We'll have a link on our webpage, theauthorinside.you.com, so that it's easy to find also.
If you want inspiration for love and family, or spiritual inspiration, or want to read a story, you can go to the table of contents, flip to that section, and you're right there.
Did anyone try to discourage you from this process? I know that some authors say that people in their immediate circle will say, tell them, that's not going to work.
I had a lot of support. I was in a really bad accident back in 2013.
Sorry.
So I'm on disability right now, just still trying to recover from everything. And I had so much support because they knew how important it was to me to accomplish something. I had worked my way up after college in a wonderful career, and it kind of came to a crashing halt. And putting this book together with the help that I had, my family helped. My mom did editing before I turned it into my editor the first time.
Great.
And she reviewed it for me. And it's very emotional. I'm sure for a mother to read some of the darker stuff was hard, but they were never discouraging at all.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, that's very nice. So how's the best way for our listeners to get in touch with you, Jennifer?
The best way for them to get in touch with me would be through my Facebook page, either my personal page, which is linked to the Bipolar Poet page, which is Bipolar Poet 24 on Facebook.
So what's your advice for listeners of our podcast on writing a book?
I think the best advice I can give is to make sure the people that you're working with are credited, that you haven't just found someone on the internet, that the key to publishing a book is with the people who help you. I couldn't have done it solely by myself. I wouldn't have known where to start. So it's important to reach out, whether it's through friends of friends or on these new author pages on Facebook, to really find a good circle of people around you to give you support.
Excellent advice. Thank you. And thank you, Jennifer, for joining us today on the Author Inside You podcast. And until next time,
Right on.
Thank you for listening to the Author Inside You podcast with your host, Leah and Matt Rafferty.